All right, Ashton. So me and you, we have something in common here. We have a common interest, and it's actually about paranormal, like the ghosts and whatnot.
Yeah.
I know, like I've experienced a few things. Again, I'm not gonna push it on anybody because I can't say what it is. I just tried to prove it with science, and I couldn't do it.
Right.
I know you've experienced a few things. So, like, what do you consider like what a ghost would be or an apparition? Like, what do you actually think it is?
The way I define it is just something unexplainable. Something literally just what I said, unexplainable. You can you can try to debunk whatever happened to you in so many different ways, and if you can't debunk it, then you know what? That's the only thing I can think of is
It makes
something
sense.
unexplainable, paranormal.
Paranormal, like like it being a spirit, like one of us, we die, and all of a sudden, like we don't move on to the other side, whatever it is, and we actually stay around and end up, having this ghost activity, end up moving the curtains or something like that. I was like, it kind of makes. I was trying to figure out like why they're even here.
Right.
If they are here, why are they?
And that's a big question. Us, big paranormal lovers is why are they here? And that's what draws me towards it is because just imagine being able to investigate like these ghost adventures and stuff. They literally go into these adventures. Zach Bagans and them go into these haunted places where there was a murder that happened.
Yeah.
And they literally try to communicate with these spirits to find out maybe who was the murderer 100 years ago.
I was like they always trying to figure out. And they always I don't know how. They have all these devices. Some stuff that's kind of out of our range that we can get, out of our reach. But like some of the things you see that they catch, kind of like astonishes you.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like that's more unbelievable than actually what they're experiencing.
Right.
But like if we had that technology, and we got some results, like we would be on the same level. We'd be on their type of adrenaline rush.
Right. Yeah, they use some pretty high dollar equipment, but the way I see it is like I would wish, somebody who's a skeptic in this, which I don't blame you,
Mm-hmm.
If nothing's happened to you, nothing's happened to you. But if you're a skeptic and you have some interest in this, spend $100. It's called an EVP recorder, electro. Can't even remember what it's called, but it's an EVP recorder. You Google it, it'll be there. It picks up very, very quiet noises.
Electronic voice
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And you can experience it for yourself. Don't like I said, Ghost Adventures. I used to be a big believer in that show, but now it's so popular, so Hollywood.
Yeah, it's kind of mainstream.
It's very mainstream. You don't know. They're there to entertain, so you don't know if that's real or not. I don't know. And so experience it for yourself. I think it's very interesting. That's something people don't really take seriously, but that's something we as the people don't know what happens after death. And, if you can research it and try to communicate with these people who quote unquote have died and get answers, I don't see what's funny about that. I mean, that is groundbreaking information to the people of this world.
Yeah, because like some of the devices they had, we call it a spirit box, where actually get like the live voices, and it seems odd, but like there was one guy who's on YouTube. I can't remember his name, but he creates these ghost boxes, this voice box without the static.
Okay.
And the results that he gets is like insane. Like you think Zach Bagans, all them. You think that's good? No. Like this is beyond amazing.
Wow.
And like it shocked the crap out of me watching it. Sometimes it scares me. I'm like, holy crap! Like you hear these voices, and like, it sounds a little different when it comes to this box. And you see what he does. It was like, man, but this guy, he actually is he believes in the spiritual, but he's never scared.
Right.
Like ever. He's like he's just trying to be peaceful the whole entire time. Always positive vibes. I think there may have been one or two times where he got scared, like where he thought like he was possibly coming in contact with a demon.
Right.
And that's something that really don't want to be played with.
Yeah, that's something you don't want to play around with, obviously. But the sad part is, at least in my opinion, that most of the times that you're gonna run into any kind of entity, I feel like a lot of times it's gonna be demonic.
I feel like it would be, only because that's what you hear mostly. Especially like, how do you summon a demon? You're playing with a Ouija board.
Yep.
If you believe in the Bible, you believe in witches and demons as well.
Exactly.
So
it's like they're real.
Demons will be real if you believe in that.
Right.
No, they're definitely real, without a doubt. It's just that if we don't experience them, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
And that's one thing like a lot of people just don't take in.
Well, can I change it up just a little bit here? Well, back in high school, I did my this is kind of funny, but I did my senior project on ghost hunting. Like I said, I've been fascinated with this stuff my whole life. And I tried to go to the old Asheville VA hospital.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And
spooky.
a little back info on this place. It's from what I've heard. We can go to Google and quote it, but I heard that it used to be, before the VA hospital, it used to be an old insane asylum.
Oh, like a mental asylum, yeah.
But then it burnt down, and if you go see it today, you can tell that it burnt down. Like, this place got really messed up, but apparently patients in the mental asylum was stuck in there when it burnt down, and there was casualties, people died. And you add a VA hospital to that too, and I was just like, wow, this is the perfect place to do my senior project. I was like,
Yeah,
if there's
I mean,
any ghosts in Asheville, they're here.
It's got to be there. I mean, you would assume like that would be the best place. I mean, there's tons of deaths there. I can only assume.
Yes.
You know, fire, and then all of a sudden it keeps change from a mental asylum to a hospital, and it's like,
Yep.
it's only gonna get worse.
And I had a teacher at the time, Mr. Rapp, and he was awesome. He actually helped me write a letter to, the big Asheville people over there to see if I could have permission to go in there, because you're not supposed to go in there.
Yeah.
So I thank Mr. Rapp for helping me out with that. I did get declined because of asbestos.
Asbestos,
Is everywhere in that building apparently. But that hasn't stopped me from going to the outside of the building. I haven't went inside of it, but I went there with a friend one time, and we were sitting there just looking at the building. We think it's so neat to look at. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the windows are busted.
Yeah.
But we heard something in there, some kind of object. It fell down enough to, like, you could hear it break, whatever it was. Almost sounded like a glass.
Like a mirror or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe some kind of cup that was glass or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that is one of the things that has happened to me that was unexplainable. I mean, like I said, the windows were broke. It could have been a gust of wind.
Could have been a gust. It could have been a rodent or something.
An animal climbed in through the window.
So there's so many ways you could debunk it, but it's like, but if you don't have the proof, then
patient just.
So yeah, exactly. It could have been like apparition. It could have been a crazy patient that was there and happened just to smack over a glass or a mirror or whatever it was. But again, it's so hard to tell nowadays if you're actually not in it. You don't see it personally, then you're just gonna come up with 10 million different things that it can't be that.
Right.
Y'all missed the opportunity. That's probably the ghost inviting you in, saying, "Come on, let's do it."
Yo, let's party. There's probably one of the frat boys in outside, right? Just like breaking stuff. Let's go.
You'd be called crazy. You'd be called crazy for a lot of stuff back then for a mental institution. Maybe you were just the party guy. You're town drunk.
Dude, well, back in the day, I can't imagine how crazy, you consider yourself, insane. But I can't imagine being inside that hospital with all those other patients, being insane and then dying. You would only imagine, you would think something is in there now.
I feel like that's how certain settings get these apparitions. Just a death that was maybe unexpected, maybe not the nicest death in the world.
Yeah, well, they could have done experiments on, we don't know. I've heard plenty of those.
Peacefully.
Yeah, exactly. You would assume, I'm sure there's been some sort of torture in there, some sort of experiments that they've tried on people.
Haunting in Connecticut, where they carved the bodies. Is that what that movie was? To where they couldn't pass on.
It was. I do remember the movie. I just can't remember the name. But yeah, like I said, things like that. I could assume that's why you could not move on to the other side of whatever it is, and that's what would keep you here. And I'd be pretty pissed.
Well, I'm not a skeptic, but for somebody who is a skeptic, just think of somewhere maybe like Auschwitz.
Oh, that place would amaze me. I'm telling you, there has to be something there. Has to be.
I'm pretty sure they used to do tours of it, didn't they?
Well, they do tours all the time, but I can't imagine how you do not get any evidence there if there has been. I haven't looked at any, but dude, there must be some sort of evidence of paranormal there, because there have been
if there's anywhere on this earth that has just not good energy,
it's there.
That has got to be in the top 5 at least. I mean,
Transylvania, Vlad Dracula's castle.
Yeah, so that was on Ghost Adventures as well, man. They checked that out. I'm telling you, places like that, dude. I could only wish to go.
Right.
And I'm sure we could. We can make it happen, but I would love to go and just check it out.
Yeah, the skeptics don't want to do that though.
Exactly. If you're a skeptic and you don't really want to put in the time, the money to actually go figure it out, I was like, then oh well, it sucks to suck.
I also think there's two kind of people, right? There's people like me who would go there and something would happen. It might jump me a little bit, but if anything, I find that more fascinating, that something really happened besides like
Instead
as
of being
a scared.
Yeah, instead of being
This
scared.
like
Just
me, I
feeling
see
like
something
an
like
energy.
Yes.
Like
I'm
you don't
out
even
later.
have to see an apparition. It's like an energy,
Yes.
right? Like
It's like you feel it. It's
a
not something you
vibe.
see it, but you feel it.
I think that happening to me
Exactly.
would fascinate me more than scare me. But like I said, I think there's other kinds of people, which I understand, that would probably take that as way more scary than interesting to them.
I mean, I understand like if it's a feeling, like okay, I need to get out of here, that's one thing. But if it's something they actually see something, and something touches them, like it grabs, like something like you can actually feel, like on your skin or something like that, then I can imagine being scared and like, people
You
would
take
run and scream.
mushrooms in one of these places.
that's like Hollywood's just made all ghosts poltergeists. Ghosts. Like everybody's supposed to be scared of them because
Yeah, exactly.
That's just
And
what
I don't
media
think that's the I don't think that's the case
no,
here.
there's several types.
What if someone's like, yo, what
I'm sure exactly. Like, so I can imagine like if I were to turn into a ghost, when I die, I couldn't imagine being like one of the like I couldn't imagine like I would love it the best with you guys. Do not get me wrong, but you guys would know it was me. Like I would make I would make it known. Yeah, you guys would know.
What we'd have to do to communicate with you, see.
Put like your dick print on the mirror in the bathroom, like taking a shower. They get out and they're gonna brush their teeth. Like,
It's like, what is
dick
this?
print.
I'm telling you, like I said, like I don't know if you've seen like in scary movies where they would take in the mirror, they would actually, the ghost, whatever, would actually make or say something on there. I'm like, I would definitely do that to y'all. Like, it's like chat or I would say something you guys would
I'd be
know.
like, I'm sorry, miss, I can't read.
I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Well, in all seriousness, like if you really, somebody passed away and you really just want to try to communicate with them, your best bet is to have some source of energy on you. Maybe a battery and a camera, a whole bunch of batteries maybe, because it takes, if you believe in this, it takes a lot of energy for a spirit to show themselves, reveal themselves, communicate with you, push something down. It takes a lot of energy for them to do that.
Get one of those like arc things where you make, I forgot what it's called, a Newtonian arc? No, it's some scientist named them. There's an arc. It's just high voltage that'll make an arc if you bring two leads close enough together.
I know
Do that, supercharge the ghost.
I mean, that would be pretty amazing to actually try. Like you said, like I watch all these shows about it, and like all of a sudden, like the batteries die of everything, the cameras die, and they're trying to figure out, we just replaced the batteries. Like I believe them without a doubt. Like, yeah, sure, that happened, and it killed the battery. Shows it's low battery. It shows them changing the batteries before.
And generally, right after that happens, that's when you encounter something.
Something happens. Something you experience. Something. It may not be like seconds after. It could be during the night. But they absorb that energy, and then they will end up putting it out there.
Would that mean an EMP would make a ghost disappear?
Ooh, that's a good question.
1,000 IQ.
1,000 IQ over here. An EMP, would that make a ghost disappear?
Straight up new supernatural idea.
It's not if it's not even a ghost. It's like the energy it puts off while it's alive. Like if someone lives in a place and puts a bad energy there, like rapists and shit.
Yeah.
And then they leave. If it's not even their entity, they're haunting the place. It's the energy at the place.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you were to go to Auschwitz, you would feel. You would feel everything there. You would feel like there was death there. You would definitely understand there was sorrow. There's sadness, everything there. I could not imagine like going in there and like taking a picture and smiling.
Right.
Like I would go there, like you would feel. I would imagine you would feel horrible.
I'm sure people do, but they're not taking it seriously. They're playing it off as
I'm sure. It was like if you were really want to experience it, and you want to go there, you would be open minded to everything. And you would feel it.
That's the whole conversation. Really, is just skeptics. Because they don't want to accept it.
If any viewers of this, had the funds and was interested in doing something like this, the place I would recommend is in Wilder, Kentucky, a place called Bobby Mackey's Music World.
Yes.
Out of all the ghost stuff I've ever watched in my life, I've never seen a place like this. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you should go there because
we don't want to send you to your death.
It's so demonic, man. That's what
I was saying on there. I have looked up some information on that, and I get the amount of stuff that's happening there. Like it's unreal.
Yes.
And like with all the marks on people, like people are getting hurt there. It's really messing with them and messing with their lives at home.
Yep.
Like I can't imagine like it's being attached to you.
Definitely. That's why I was wondering. Like, do you think they can attach you and hitchhike to?
Well, I think it's like it's not necessarily like it's attaching to you, but it's not going like if you go to your house and then all of a sudden now it's a part of your house. I think it's just only to you. So you like if it's around you, it can mess with stuff or whatever, but you would feel it more than anybody. And I remember it happened to a few of the guys on the show.
Yeah.
And it was just like it really messes with their home life, and I can only imagine because it probably messes with their head too. So all of a sudden they're acting different.
I feel like a lot of these demonic entities are people that we forget about are here every day on earth. That is people that's in, some people genuinely don't want to go to heaven. Some people want to go to hell, and they have a thing with Satan more than God or whoever you believe in. But if you have your mindset that way, I feel like in my head, I feel like you have a more probability of being some kind of dark entity than to say
I could definitely see that then.
As a better person would, I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you wouldn't really turn into a demonic.
Because there's voodoo, there's people that there's literally people out here to do this kind of things that purposely want to be a demonic entity when they die and serve Satan.
I've known women who are like they had powers, man. Like they could take if you had a cough, they would take your rag that you cough in and go take it and put it in like a tree, bro. And like a week later, you wouldn't have a cough anymore. Because they had like a touch, you know what I mean? Like this is around this.
I can imagine that happening like in like New Orleans or something like that, where all the voodoo happens or practices at.
It's just different types of energy, man. Like
I think voodoo sounds far out there, but I'm a believer. Honestly, I feel like if you devoted all your time and energy into doing this one little voodoo thing that you want to do,
I would say
maybe it can happen.
I feel like it could very well happen. Again, so I saw. You ever seen the movie or the documentary, The Demon House?
I have not.
Okay, so this is Zach Bagans, and he goes and he hears about this house and he buys it. He buys this house because he heard it was demonic,
right?
And so he goes around trying to find all the people that used to live in it, and all these people do not want to be interviewed at all. Like they're afraid it's gonna come back. And if you get the chance, definitely watch it. I'm not sure. You might be able to find it on YouTube. I think it's where. Yeah, The Demon House.
I think it's on Netflix.
You're not talking about their very first movie, right?
No, okay. no, not the first documentary with Aaron and Nick. No, this is just Zach.
Gotcha.
And him I guess like crew that was just filming. It's like you don't really see anybody that you knew, but he ends up like buying this house. He ends up getting some of these interviews, and there's some crazy stories that's happened, and it's like things like you would see out of a movie. Like if you've seen it in a movie, it happened in that house.
Right.
And like they brought a priest down. Like they brought a priest in there. Apparently someone was killed in there. And the scariest part was this was towards the end. After hearing everything, he boarded himself in there. Not just like put a lock on it. He boarded up all the windows, the door, and everything. And then he had a video camera. Like he had his own video camera, and the video camera throughout the whole entire place. And you hear him, and it's like he ends up like he was genuinely scared, freaked out. Like he usually can keep his cool for a while, but like all of a sudden, like he was like in the bed, and he was like pretty much he was almost like going insane. Like he was not in his right mind.
Right.
And it was so scary to see that happen. Like
from somebody like him.
Yeah, it's like he screams. It's like it's crazy. And then I don't know if you know this, but the glasses he wears, they're called prism glasses, and because that ended up, and that's what happened at that house was actually that was the effect. That's what actually ended up happening. Something happened in his head, so it happened to his eyes, so where he has to wear these prism glasses now.
Wow,
dude, it's one of the scariest things that I've watched, and I would truly believe.
I think when you're messing with demonic stuff like that, that's something that can definitely happen to you. Is some kind of issue can occur, like people get scratches.
Yeah.
Like headaches, nausea.
Yeah, it's feeling queasy, anything like that.
Dizzy.
Yeah.
That's all these kinds of symptoms people say they have when they're around something like that.
Or they
must be around spirits 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's one thing. But then again, like you would end up like you would naturally feel something's off. Like like some of these guys get angry, like they get possessed. Like, that would really get mad and they'd go crazy.
That reminds me, little blocked out, but back when Rain used to live at Sarah's house, dude, it was crazy. I would be angry all the time.
Oh, I remember that house up and over there. Yes,
dude. Like no matter what, I was mad all the time, all the time.
just at that house, right?
That my parents, Rain, everybody.
Like only because like you went there, and, like all of a sudden, like something just like it's like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden you're just mad all the time. All of a sudden,
yeah, scary, dude. He liked being mad. It was
bad energy.
Could you imagine like being like all of a sudden like you don't care what anybody else thinks, you are just in a pissed off mood the whole entire time.
you feel that bang, you're like, you got the whole Coach Rice thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like you would, and your face would end up getting red. And dude, you are getting legitimately mad over nothing. Just being in a bad mood, just being negative all the time, and that you see it happen all the time.
That can happen with a lot of bad energy, but I feel like we've talked a lot about the bad energy. Let me put this out there that I feel like there's also not negative energy, you know?
I feel like there must be positive energy out there. There must be.
I've watched an episode of Ghost Adventures one time of Zach and the crew coming to investigate with a family that had a 2-year-old daughter, and she was born with some kind of disability and didn't make it.
Yeah.
But the family felt like they had multiple encounters, like where they just felt like she was there, like, and she was watching them, like to a point to where they reached out to the crew and was like, "Hey, we had a daughter that passed away, and there's nothing negative here going on, but it would give us comforting if y'all could come here and maybe we could communicate with her." And throughout the episode, that's what happens. They kind of go back and forth, and I don't think that's negative at all. I mean, if I lost a loved one or something, maybe I could communicate with them in some way. I mean, I think that's pretty awesome.
That would be pretty amazing to see, especially being like, you know, you have a daughter, like all of a sudden like you feel a presence there, you see stuff happening you cannot explain, but you're not scared. It's like it's still comforting.
That mom talked about, like, she remembered the feeling she had when the baby was delivered, that joy. And she would just randomly walk throughout the house, and that joy would just hit her from nowhere. That same feeling as when she had that baby.
I just got chills just thinking about it.
And I thought, like, wow, is that not freaking awesome? Like, what if this is really happening, you know? And it's not a negative thing. This is
it's like
this is positive. This is comforting. This is helping you get through your grief.
That'd be quite amazing to feel. Like I would love to feel that type of joy, like, or just to feel like that presence there. Mm-hmm. Like I don't like not being scared. Like you feel this positive vibe. Like everything's good. Like everything, all good vibes.
Right.
And I feel like there's a ton out there, but everyone just sees this paranormal activity as negative. Everything negative, something demonic, something scary, something you shouldn't be messing with all the time.
I think that's when Hollywood kind of took over.
That's it. Yeah.
You gotta think of it like this: the Holy Spirit shouts out Jesus Christ.
Amen and hallelujah.
That's the good spirit.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Bible Belt, fellas.
Well, actually, that brings up a good point. You know, a lot of churches I've heard are haunted, and I can't imagine a church being haunted, but in a bad way. Like it makes to me it almost makes no sense.
Even Satan comes to church, bro.
Well, duh. I mean, he was there.
The way I view church, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah.
But I think some people view it as like, you know, with the whole ghost thing, it's like, no, this is God's house. There's a big invisible wall that's blocking all the ghosts here. I'm like, no, this is just another building. 9 times out of 10, there's a graveyard besides this church.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a graveyard.
There's no wall that's blocking God. I mean, this is just how things go. And a lot of people say they see these kind of entities in graveyards and stuff like that. And like I said, this can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
It's the only reason
ghosts are coming to church.
It's like the only reason we see all these things again as bad things is because of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Hollywood is like definitely brainwashed us all.
If it wasn't in a negative light, you'd never, like in your early childhood days, you would never be introduced to it. You'd never even think about it.
You would never. That was being almost the point until you actually experience something.
Like, you didn't even question. You see a ghost, it's gonna kill you.
Yeah. It's not. It's not an actual paranormal activity movie.
Mm-hmm. I think once you start going out there and trying to find these things and spending money on it too, investing your time and money on trying to find these things, it's very fun. I mean, especially if something actually happens to you. I mean, that's what you're wanting to happen, and if that won't scare you, then it's an awesome hobby. It's an awesome hobby.
It's what it is. Like it's an adrenaline rush. And
you're putting yourself on the line.
I
Like,
feel like
really.
it's kind of like an energy, like you feel the energy, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like an adrenaline rush. Not so much being scared, it's just like,
it's like, whoa, that's like it feels crazy. Like
yeah, just
it's
like,
like you just want to
atmosphere.
chase it. Like it's like you're chasing the high. Like you want to experience that again and again and again, and you want to be able to prove what it is.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to take every individual in this room right now might not believe in ghosts because I said I've seen something. I think it takes every individual to have something happen to them.
Yeah, their own experience.
You have to have your own experience. And if you haven't had one and you're interested, go out there and try it. But until you've experienced something, it's very hard to, tell people what happened to you, you know, because it's so far-fetched.
Like, I'm not here to force any opinion on anybody, but if you experience something, I mean, that's on you, and I want you to have your own opinion. But a lot of the time, like, it's like, this is how we feel. Like, it probably was something paranormal, something could have been good or bad, but you have to have your own experience to understand what we are talking about.
I'm not a skeptic on the subject, but I feel like I would sometimes, if I would have seen something, I'd just tell myself I didn't because it's not normal, you know,
Right.
to see something. So I'm just like,
block it
it's
out.
odd,
Just
it's
block it
whatever,
out,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
just ignore it. Like it was.
out of sight, out of mind.
You come up with a logical
Yeah.
explanation. What they would call a logical
Yeah, it's like,
explanation.
again, it's like a skeptic. It's like, oh yeah, it's just that. So I definitely understand that
Like a
without a doubt.
wire or electrical or a refrigerator in the house or something,
Mm-hmm.
which might not even be the real thing that was actually doing it, but
Exactly. Well, like when I was a kid, I would hear the ice maker go off in the freezer, and that would scare the crap out of me, man. I was like, nope, I'm not going out there in the middle of the night.
exactly.
But I would always blame it on that, no matter what it was. I'm like, oh, it's just a freezer. It's just an ice maker. I'd be scared. But again, it's what we did as a
That's
kid.
people's natural instinct is to be kind of scared at first, but
Yeah.
if you can get past that point, like to where you like kind of respect that.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're looking for some kind of entity,
It's
too
just
bad.
it's just really keeping an open mind about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you should really, in my own beliefs, like you should keep an open mind about everything, no matter what. Like, if you keep an open mind, you are more welcome to experience all these different types of things.
I was much more skeptical till I like eat mushrooms, dude. And I'm not a big, I do not like psychedelics that much, but it really will open your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I heard. Like say like the DMT.
Yeah,
It's like it
that's
takes you to like a whole nother world.
Spiritual trip.
Yeah.
It's,
Understanding.
and to be honest, like I would love to experience like just the experience. Like I don't want to do these things, but like because like when you hear Joe Rogan and talking about it, like he has this like it's like the third eye. It's like it opens up your third eye.
Right, and
Yeah.
mine's so powerful.
Exactly.
You
And I
might
was
even
like,
be able to communicate with these things, but
I know, like he was saying, like at least do it once, and I was like, to be honest, I would love to, just because I want to experience being that open minded, and it was just like it literally just like blows your mind up, like whatever you thought, just like it's completely wiped away, and you look at it from a different perspective, and it's pretty amazing.
The way I look, I'm going to come back to the paranormal a little bit. The way I look at the paranormal, and this is like what I want everybody to know how I feel about it, and maybe y'all can relate, is yes, I know it's out there. Yes, I know it's different, weird, strange. It can be funny. But doesn't everybody want to know what happens when we die? You know, I'm sure everybody here has at least thought once in their life, like, what's going to happen when I die?
Like besides like being religious, like when you die,
Even if
your spirit goes to heaven or your spirit would go to hell. That was the main thing that everybody would think. But obviously, like you would see, like we experienced certain things, and like it's a spirit, like it's still on Earth.
I feel
That
like
hasn't moved on.
religion kind of is on a whole nother thing with paranormal
without a
because
doubt.
a lot of the religious people are so against it, and they don't want to think that
But
anybody's
yeah, again, like besides being closed-minded, like, there's a lot of stuff you gotta be open-minded about. You have to go into the Bible and you have to read all this stuff. Like, but there's evidence like we experience ourselves. Like that's the main question is like, what happens when we die? Where do we go?
And that's my whole view on paranormal is literally what happens when we die, because they've died, obviously.
There's like
And if they're communicating with me, I would love to communicate back with them and them give me this information I'm wanting.
Now, when it comes, so there's like a theory, it's a far-fetched theory about the paranormal. It's like, it's actually not the paranormal at all. It's actually like the fourth dimension,
Okay.
to where it's actually, it's just like us in another dimension communicating with us in another dimension.
Right.
And that's what I would say appearances, like you would see like an apparition or something like that. It's like a glitch in the Matrix, and it's like a lot of people do believe in that. It's actually like an upcoming theory, and it kind of blows my mind. Like, it's like maybe when we die, like we're dead, like nothing happens, we go to heaven or hell, or like so, and everything that we think now about ghosts is actually just us in another dimension. Same thing like with the spirit box, like everything you're picking up is just from another dimension.
Right.
But at the same time, like I'm a pretty religious person, so it's like there's going to be a judgment for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And if you put a timeline of like how many years the Earth has been created and eternity, like that time scale is so vast, eternity to such a small time that like after everything is said and done, everybody will be like judged like at the same time, right? And that's like a place you're going to go to be judged, as I view it. So like to get to a place, you have to go there, right?
Yeah.
Some people might get lost on their way there after they die. And that's
actually,
like,
that's a really good point. Like,
That is a good
I think,
point.
you know, you die, like, and you actually have to travel to that. Like, usually, like, and then what is it in Revelations? You know, our spirits, if you know, when Revelations happens, your spirits, you know, would go to heaven. They would just, you know, all of a sudden, they would rise up from the ground and go to heaven. And it was like, I can see where that's happening, like on its way out.
Right.
It's like the unfinished, yeah. It's like the unfinished business where they haven't finished something here, so they do it and then they can move on. It's like they're trapped, or they're lost. Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, really, really good. I could go on about that for a minute.
Yeah. It's definitely because I mean it's the physical realms like you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a made up place or something like that. You know, you really like pass on to a
Legitimate place.
scientific place.
Hashtag watch the movie Interstellar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That again. It's all about perspective, man.
Yeah, man.
All about perspective.
I
It's
think
like,
everybody can agree though that like there's definitely things on the earth that change energies in the way you feel, regardless of ghosts or not ghosts. Just like that you would call
This
like a ghost encounter.
To add to what you're saying, you could feel a certain way at Disney World and you can feel a certain way at Auschwitz.
Exactly.
You know, they're not going to feel the same.
no.
They're not going to feel the same. There's just different energy there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I think that had to do with a lot. Like, you know, trying to pass on. Like, there's nothing there. Like, you're just like sorrow and like trying to go on something. Like, you're not gonna go anywhere. Like, you're gonna feel lost. Like, you don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know what the joy feels like. Like, oh, you should be following this path right here, and it would lead you to wherever it takes you, wherever it's supposed to.
Such a tragedy that your mind is in such a confused state that when you do die, like you're so confused and scared and
Yeah.
hurt.
Like a lot of these, like, you know, in Auschwitz, like, they died of dysentery, which is like, dude, they pretty much rotted.
Misery.
Yeah, they rotted away.
True misery.
Like, all the way down to nothing. And I can't imagine how much of a toll it must have took
Mentally,
took
watching
on the
their
mind.
family do that as well.
Exactly. I could not imagine what it would take, like what your mind would be going through. Like, all of a sudden you die, like, you're already like screwed up in the head. You're like at that point, so like you're nowhere near logical when you die.
Like,
So now imagine that you die and all of a sudden, like, you're still probably not logical.
Exactly.
I feel like a lost soul there could be like what Maven was saying, like a dad to his family that's in Auschwitz, and he's watching his kids and his wife go through this, and he's dead, but he don't really know it, and he's still trying to stay there and protect his
Find
kids
him.
and his
Yeah.
wife.
He's looking for him, you know?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
there's something that could happen. That's something I believe that is very possible.
Yeah, again, it's like not moving on. Like, there's something like unfinished business,
Right.
and it's really just like, and it's all mind game, like trying to keep like, it's almost like it's on replay for them because they died back then, so that's all they know is back then. They don't see anything, I guess, now, and if they do see anything now, they always see is empty space, and then they would see, you know, in their head where like their families was or were, and I think that would be the most mind screwing thing to do. Like, if that happened, like if you were to die that way, you'd be stuck there, like stuck in a time loop, pretty much, just doing over and over and over.
I mean, just think if you were that guy there right now in that mindset, and it's just like, if it was me and I had family and kids, it would be, I gotta protect my family and kids somehow. I'm powerless here. I'm lost. There's nothing I can do. There's no way of getting out of here, but my only thing I can devour my time to, besides working and everything there, is protecting my family. And then seeing your family executed right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine that being in your mind, and then that's the last thing you've seen when you die.
Yeah, it's like
It's
all of a
just-
sudden now you're that rage is in you, and like now you're stuck.
The energy that would express out of your soul, like out of a living being, it would never leave a building.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
It's trapped.
I remember.
So bad.
Well, see, I remember. I don't know how long ago Oprah did she did I guess a tour. Like she went there herself, and you can just tell like she was experiencing these things. Like she was experiencing like so much depression. Like it was like so like obviously it's not a happy place, but it was just like taking a huge toll, and it just drags it right out of you. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I can imagine the amount of energy that's coming off of that place, and the amount of rage that's coming out of the amount of sorrow, everything that's coming out of there all at once. Like again, like if you were like you're gonna take technology there, I would assume it would drain that battery like in a heartbeat.
I feel like that's the place to go if you want to see stuff like that. But I feel like there's a certain respect too.
There is.
There's a
and
fine line in between, like
It's
with
ki-
a place like that.
It would be very hard to do it because it's like you're disturbing the peace, but like you don't. But like it's almost so hard not to like how can you not?
Yeah.
Like there's almost no way. Like I gotta do it.
Like if there was, these paid scientists out here, some kind of group, some kind of organization that is low key supposed to be finding unexplainable things, I imagine that's the place they want to go to.
Yeah.
But like I said, I feel like there's a fine line that those people, whoever run it and do the tours, don't want that there.
Yeah,
And I
I
understand.
definitely get that. And it's like, I mean, just give someone access. So like someone who's not gonna Hollywood or whatever. I really would love to see.
Imagine
What
like if
happened?
we could communicate with those and maybe learn something that's not in the textbooks from somebody who's
Yeah.
there,
I mean, I can't imagine all the lost souls that are there.
Yeah.
Like the amount of names you would probably get would be phenomenal.
Caribbean, he's not dead.
Yeah, I couldn't. Like I'm just thinking about it. It's like it makes me feel so sad.
That's
It's
what
like-
a lot of the ghost hunters try to do. Like, other than gather information, just help them move on from
Yeah.
where they're at.
It's like
Get-
you don't
get
belong.
stuck.
You don't belong here.
Exactly. You need to just
You need to be moved on. You need to be in a better place.
because they might not know. Like you said, they were in such a bad place when they died that they're confused and lost. They're
Yeah,
just-
they wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
And that's what Zach and them do. And imagine if that's a real thing, what a good thing you just did. If somebody is trapped there in damnation, whatever, for eternity, I guess, and you was able to help in that situation, that is literally
I couldn't imagine
life changing if
amount-
they're alive. I guess.
that feeling you would get of just like expression. I was like, oh my, like it's like a giant relief for that, for you and for them. It's like it would be
I
phenomenal.
feel like the best way to understand it, though, the way I interpret it, is like if when you die, like the judgment happens like instantly for you if you're ready to go there.
Yeah,
like,
either you go or you don't.
but if you're not, you get stuck on like Earth time. You're not in like
Yeah.
interdimensional shift time. You're on Earth time still. You can't get into that wavelength that moves you in an instant when everybody
Yeah,
else
whenever
goes.
it goes, yeah.
So
Well,
you're
I-
like in a whole nother deal.
I used to have a buddy in high school who was, it's kind of on the same page as what you're talking about. He was more of a Catholic, but he believed in ghosts too. And if you're not familiar, a lot of people in the Catholic religion believe that there's a purgatory before
Yeah,
you go to
limbo.
heaven. And
Right in the middle.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
a lot of
one
people
don't
think that these people in purgatory could be these spirits here.
Like I said, that goes back to the fourth dimension. Like it's just another dimension.
Right.
But if you're in purgatory, that's not a place to be, man.
I don't know what to think about. I've watched too many TV shows that
That-
purgatory is scary, but I feel like maybe it's just another Earth.
What a wild thought is like not only is God strong enough to have created our planet, if he's that strong to have created every single thing that exists, words, thoughts,
Yeah.
you think he's only created one?
No, there's no way he
You
would
think
have.
there-
That's like he would have to create more. Like
You think there's multiple dimensions like with other planets, like with other
Bunch of-
other entire groups of
I think
children,
so.
so to speak.
Well, even if you like travel to another planet or such
Or
and
it would
such.
be a whole nother dimension that he created,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they all converge. So I think they could also be like switched. So like it's a real place, right, where you're going to be judged for how you lived your life, bro. And he's created so many that maybe that's the center, right?
Everybody
And
comes
there's
there and then
the-
goes through.
And the different dimensions are like around it, and you're trying to get here. Maybe you get over here, like you go from one dimension
you
to
do
another
another.
one. Instead of going here, you go like here.
Right.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. Like
You
you're
know?
just, it's like the pathway. You got to find the pathway to where you're supposed to be going to, where you're supposed to be judged, or whatever you guys
whatever
believe.
your religion is.
Yeah. And I mean,
Because you definitely do go somewhere after you die, man. You know, I don't think some people.
I don't think it's
do
just
believe-
lights out.
Some people do believe that, you know, that it's just lights out.
Just the atheist life.
It's like, yo,
It's just lights out when you die,
When
homie.
when I die, it's like I'm sleeping forever, and it's like, I'm like,
That's why they
There's gotta-
say you can sleep when you're dead.
it's like yeah, like,
Yeah, but-
there's got to be something, man. There's got to be something.
Yeah, there's a
out there.
reason we're here.
We're not just here to be here. Like there's a purpose.
Definitely.
No, without a doubt.
This has been Let's Get Lost. I'm here with Dylan, Ashton, Maven, and me, Mark. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.